The purpose of this lab exercise is to go through basic digital control logic using the conveyor station and to discuss different methods for control logic. So we are going to make a sorting program using the conveyor station after we practice the logic. So first things first, we need some way of checking our logic. So I'm going to put together a series of detented switches and an indicator light so that I can tell when my output goes true and when my output is false. And once that's completed, I'm going to be able to go inside my digital logic module and actually modify the logic that's in it and make it behave by whatever rules that I want. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check an AND gate, and I'm going to complete the truth table for that AND. I'll repeat this process and modify my logic to check an OR gate. And then a NOT gate. And now I will complete the truth table for the NOTing of two ANDed inputs. So I'm going to AND the two inputs, and then I'm going to run the output of that AND through a NOT gate. Next, I will demonstrate the behavior of a set-reset gate. And finally, to put all of these concepts together, I'm going to append to my demonstration. I'm going to give it another switch. And I am going to create a logic wherein switches 1 and 2 have to be pressed in order to set, to turn on the circuit, and either switches 3 or 4 can reset the circuit. I'll begin by setting up the optical and inductive proximity switches the same way that we did in the previous laboratory, only this time the signal outputs from each of the sensors will go into an input of the digital logic module. I will also need to add to the file the multi-pin distribution plug, and I'll need to label that with my inputs and my outputs because I want to be able to connect this to the physical system and see it react. I'll use the outputs of the digital logic module to trigger the coils which control the DC motor and the solenoid-powered deflector. On a separate circuit, I'll add the contactors that connect to the relays, and I'll add the DC motor and the solenoid deflector. Once the external system is completed, now I can move inside the digital logic module and create the logic which will control the sorting mechanism. This logic is much simpler than in the previous exercises, and it essentially involves connecting each of the input sensors to an off-delay timer. And that wraps up our sorting program.